What's going on, guys? I'm Ghost, but you can just call me stupid because I forgot to turn on the recording when we started today. So, I noticed in like 2 minutes, so it's alright, but we're going to start today at the Road of Iniquity side path here in Altus Plateau, and we're going to hop on this road here and just follow it over to Mount Gelmir. Which looks so much cooler than it really is. I feel like this zone is kind of underwhelming, but that's alright. Up that hill to the right, on the edge of the cliff, there's a corpse with like a golden rune 4, I believe. And then right around the corner here is another corpse, I thought. Maybe it's just an item sitting there, but blood grease, I believe, some kind of weapon grease, and then you're good to just cross the bridge. Wait, what? What is that? There's an item. Can we cross over here? I would leave it alone, but it looks like it was a purple item, so it's probably something better than just like a bolus or butterfly or something. I think it was on this level. Yes. Whoa. Little dude. Oh, we can make that easily. God damn it. So yeah, cross the bridge, grab the grace. And then we're gonna run through here on torrents, and there's gonna be a few iron versions around here. So they're just, they're random corpses scattered around here that you'll see glowing, obviously, if you haven't looted them already. There's golden rune 8, some Martaria leaves, blood roses, and some explosive great bolts. 2 of them we just passed, 2 more right here between these enemies. But we're just gonna keep running into this village here. Probably gonna get attacked by a couple dogs. Deal with them first. And then keep going, and right around here or so, you'll get invaded by the same NPC, Anastasia, that invades us at Smoldering Church, right on the border between Limgrave and Caelid earlier in the game. Very heavy weapon, hits hard, but she has super low poise, so very easy to stagger her. And killing her will drop her weapon, and then you can loot this guy for the Golden Vow incantation. And that is where I realized I was not recording. So then, run up here, grab the stone sword key, and we're just gonna turn around and follow the cliffs to the right. Like halfway between here and the grace that we just came from, there's gonna be a ladder on the wall, marked by a couple of torches. So climb that to the top. Oh, check out the new fashion, by the way. I put on the twinned gloves, so the one over here matches my legs color-wise, but but the one over here matches the blade of my sword. It's cool, you don't have to say anything. Grab the Grace, first Mount Gelmir campsite. Run over here, get some golden runes as usual. And then up here there's a chair. Somber Smithing Stone 6. And then we can head back the other way. There's gonna be a bunch of soldiers around here that are like kind of distracted checking these bodies, so I don't know that you really need to mess with all of them. Obviously the ones sitting next to an item are going to notice you, but that guy right there didn't notice us, that guy right there didn't notice us, so kill as many or as few as you want, I suppose. And then back around this corner, you can climb up this tower. Get some arrows. And up at the top, get the pulley bow. It has like increased range built into it because of the advanced technology that is the pulley. Alright, and then we got a pumpkin guy up here. And this little glow up here. Message: rainbow stones lead the way to riches. And that's from our good buddy Patches. Now Patches has definitely done us wrong in the past, but he said he was sorry last time. So this is definitely legit. As soon as you drop down here, look over to the left, you can see his bald head peeking out of the grass.
Strange place. I thought I could use a right over the...
And you can talk to him if you want, but either way, we'll have to walk into this trap to move along with the quest line, so just keep following these rainbow stones to riches, and a cutscene will play. We'll land down here, right next to a butterfly, a couple of basilisks. I hate these things. Alright, cool. Yeah, so we looted these corpses in the previous episode because this is Seethwater Cave, which we already cleared, so you can just ignore it and head west down the river. That was odd. You guys saw the falling people too, right? Fireproof dried liver there. I missed. Golden Rune 6. The button that works the least on my controller currently is the Y button, which is the one that I really need to be like you know, well, I need all of them to work, honestly, but it's annoying when I'm like mashing it, trying to pick stuff up as I run by, and it just doesn't register. But anyway, actually, we're not going this way yet. We'll be back for that. For now, we work on some quest lines. So we're gonna go up here to the left instead and grab all the random stuff on the way. Nothing terribly fancy to loot. And well, that has a lot of range. I guess we will deal with you then. The other one's chill. I respect that. Alright, so around the corner, got a Magma Wyrm to deal with. Now, luckily you can just drag it out of the lava, so you don't have to worry about fighting it in there. That being said, as with all Magma Wyrms, some fire protection still wouldn't hurt if you want to throw on the Flame Drake Talisman or something. Lots of fire breath attacks, or magma I should say. Lingers on the ground and all that. But aside from just being kind of strong and having a lot of health, this guy is the same as the other Magma Wyrms we fought thus far. Go into phase 2. Let's try to finish this up. And there we go. So he's going to give us a Dragon Heart and also unlock the Magma Breath incantation back at the Cathedral of Dragon Communion, which only costs 1 Dragon Heart, so pretty much pays for itself there. A couple corpses to loot out here. If you're quick, you can get them all on Torrent. Doesn't take too much damage. One more, and then talk to Alexander. And exhaust his dialogue. Get the jar helmet. And he's repeating himself, so that should send him to his next location. Next, just head south through the rest of the lava. Little demi-human ambush on the left, so just head through this right path to avoid that. Materia leaf. More golden runes. Clear out those guys, then over here to the left. Got those guys protecting the rolling magma incantation, and then hop up to the next level. That might be a sorcery, actually. Bear has noticed us? No. Yeah, sometimes he's sitting there, he just takes random naps in the road too, so... Who knows what that guy's on, but... Get his attention. Lure him down here. Stay kind of close, otherwise we'll just keep spamming Beast Roar for the rest of eternity. Come on, boy. There you go. Oh, that works actually. How have I never thought to try that? I just assumed Beast Roar didn't break that for some reason. Missed the crit. Hell yeah. I didn't want his health anyway. Alright, and then this last house up here. Gravelstone. And the puppy. Alright. Now. Keep making your way up the hill. And we got a Grace over here. Holy Crossbow. And the Michaela's Lily. That didn't work. Alright, so up ahead is Hermit Village, but before we commit to going up this hill... Stop that. Come on. We can do this. Yes. How many of you are there? Alright. Cool. So, before we commit to going up this hill, there's going to be an iron version off to the left. You can see it up there behind the fence. So you can kill it if you want, or just commit to running through the village and grabbing the key items on horseback. Kind of up to you. There's going to be a Grace like right after the village, so we'll be good probably if you do that, but you do have to keep moving, and you will probably die if things go wrong and you get knocked off of Torrent. So, I'm going to go for it. Sacramental Bud. Run inside, just past the first building. Hop up here. Prattling Pate, you're beautiful. Turn right again. Get the glintstone crown there. Starlight shards over here. Bunch of sacramental buds down here. Gold tinged excrements. Never have enough of that. Errant Sorcerer set, and then hop up here for some string. Once you have everything, run through here. You're going to trigger a boss fight, but just ignore it. You'll be just fine. Grab this Grace and rest up. You missed. Alright, so this is Primeval Sorcerer Zur. Interact with him. He's going to slowly open his hand and give us the Comet Azure Primeval Sorcery, which is also a legendary sorcery, and we're adding that to the collection. So, while we're here, might as well challenge this boss. Pretty straightforward. Fought a couple of these before. She dies, and the ads die too for some reason. And we get our last memory stone, if you've been following the guide. That is 8 out of 8. So, good stuff there. Now, the sorcery we just got, there are 2 primeval, well, I don't want to say there's only 2. Maybe there's only 2, but I don't know that for a fact, so I'm not going to declare that. But there are at least 2 that we're concerned with, which come from Azure and another primeval sorcerer named Lusat. And whichever one you get first doesn't really matter, but getting one of those sorceries, like Comet Azure, will allow us to progress Sellen's questline. So warp back to Waypoint Ruins. The other one's over in Caelid. I haven't covered it in the walkthrough yet, but maybe you've gotten it. Doesn't matter which one you get. But show her that sorcery. And then choose Tell Me Your Story.
It was for a tether tooth. I want glimpse no matter what my apprentice teacher, but hear me out. I need your help. Perhaps this.
Choose Let Us Journey Together.
This plea you must have.
And then I have a favor to ask,
Master Lusand, like my apprentice,
which should get you the Sellen Sealbreaker.
to restore the keys now.
And you can also ask for a lead on Lusat just to be safe.
About it wouldn't be
Cool. So, now that we know where Lusat is, warp over to Church of the Plague in Caelid. Starlight Shard over here. Not sure why I didn't grab this earlier in the walkthrough. I remember walking past it and being like, yeah, we'll get that later when we go get Lusat, and I didn't put together that that would be a really long time after we first came through here, so... Run up to this tombstone thing, kill the sorcerer, loot the beast blood, and directly behind it on this cliff face is an illusory boulder. You can't find it for whatever reason, again, directly behind that large tombstone where the sorcerer was, but you can also use Margit's Shackle to find it easier if you need. Run down here, let's grab the Grace. I would equip a healing spell if you have it, by, you know, which by this point you know is code for there's a Revenant in here somewhere. And also throw on Flame Cleanse Me. That's going to come in handy for the boss fight. Don't need it for the cave, thankfully, but... Illusory wall behind that item. And another. We'll hug this right wall. Take you out. Halfway across here, jump to the left. Golden 5. Kill that guy, and then hop back over this little cluster to get back to the beginning. And this time we'll climb all the way across. Now down here to the right, and just keep dropping down to the bottom of this pit. There'll be one sorcerer back here guarding the seal. That didn't feel good. Kill him and interact with that to dispel it. And talk to Lusat. And that gets you the Stars of Ruin Primeval Sorcery, which of course is also a legendary sorcery. Getting close on that achievement. And that is all we have to do for Sellen in this area, but we're here, so let's just finish it out, kill the boss, get all the loot. Alright, now to deal with you. Drops a Ghost Glovewort. A few items back here to pick up. Lost Ashes of War. And then backtrack to the other end where these fireflies are, and you can climb up this little tunnel here. Somber Smithing Stone 4. And drop down here. Follow around the bend. Hop the gap. And we'll go down into this dark cave. Alright, so in here, follow this right path. Some boluses, illusory wall just behind him with a chest. Get the crystal spear and then go back towards the entrance a bit and just keep this wall to your left. Follow it up to the top where these crystals are and then you can hop across here. And again, to get into this cave where we can drop down. Got a few sorcerers waiting for us. Take them out, crack open the chest. Get the Crystallian ashes. Deal with that guy. And then you can drop down off this ledge into another tunnel. If we go over to the right, this will be the bottom of the big room we were just in a second ago. Snail down here, a few more over there too. Just grab these crystal darts and head back into the cave. Few more snails to deal with. And then we're ready for the boss. So this is going to be a Crystallian trio, one with a ring blade, one with a spear, and one caster with a staff. The catch is that they're Putrid Crystallians, which means they inflict scarlet rot when they hit you, or they build it up at least. So be very mindful of that. Keep flame cleanse me handy. Luckily, as you know by now, if you have any amount of FP, basically at all, casting Flame Cleanse Me is nearly free. Plus you probably have a few preserving boluses saved up for an emergency too if you really need. So that is the backup plan. Now this boss is kind of weird. Normally with like any multi-boss encounter like this, I'd recommend taking out one of them as quickly as possible and just focus on whichever one has the most range first. But usually they're like super polite and two of them will just stand aside while you fight one of them. So despite there being three, it's usually basically a 1v1. I've inflicted, or been inflicted with Scarlet Rot. That is tragic. But that's why we carry the incantation. Damn. Relentless today. See what I mean? Like, unless you approach them, they just kind of hang out over there. There we go, finally. They're just so docile. Alright, there's two. Deal with you next, I suppose. And then it's a 1v1. That can be pretty nasty, since all those little fragments can inflict Scarlet Rot, so be very careful of that spell. But pretty easy to spam backstabs on this guy, since he charges up those spells for so long. Just keep circle strafing. And there we go. They should give you the Crystal Torrent sorcery, and then you can warp back to Waypoint Ruins. talk to Sellen, choose about the request,
My body in prison. Can you make the... I have something.
and Lusat's location,
Have my I am... This is...
some starlight shards,
Bodies. Only
and then I usually just hit about the request again just to make sure. And with that, we can warp to the 4th Church of America down in Weeping Peninsula. And where's the exit? That'll work. We can make our way down here to Witchbane Ruins, which we skipped over when we were originally in this area, because I mentioned that I have heard of Sellen's questline getting messed up if you come here early. Just freak accident kind of thing. Not really intended, but not really worth risking considering there's almost nothing here in the way of loot, except for that ambush shard, night sorcery. The marionettes might follow you down here, so just double check. I think we're okay. Just keep your eye on the door, but speak to Sellen until you get the option to accept the primal glintstone. There we go. And then exhaust her dialogue.
treat what you hope. Treat what you hope.
Cool. And then once she's repeating herself, save and quit the game. And when we reload, she is very dead, and you can talk to Witch Hunter Jaren.
Well, just put it. He was known as obsessed, the most dangerous. It a woman. I suspect. I'm sure she's sick in it. I'm sure she's sick.
Alright, so once his dialogue is exhausted, he's worried that she's going to pop up alive somewhere else in a different body, so let's go just mess with him, warp to Ronnie's Rise, make that exact thing happen. And back outside, just off to the left, we can jump into Celavis's secret chamber. If you remember, there was a puppet in here that looked a whole lot like Sellen earlier in the game. Transplant the primal glintstone, she will wake up.
Maya, thank you. And it's better still. Finally, I can to expel my dear apprentice. To expel.
And once her dialogue is exhausted, warp to the Grand Library of Raya Lucaria, where it is decision time. So you need to choose whether to side with Sellen or Jaren here. There's going to be two summon signs outside. There's a red one where you assist Jaren by invading Sellen, and the gold one where you are summoned to help Sellen kill Jaren. So, option 1, if you side with Sellen, you're going to kill Jaren and you get his armor, the eccentric set, and then afterwards you can exhaust Sellen's dialogue for some rewards, including the Glintstone Chris, and you can also buy the Shard Spiral Sorcery from her shop, which is a super good sorcery against really big enemies, especially dragons. I will explain that again later, next time we get to a dragon probably. But after you do that, you can save and quit or rest and reload the area to find her transformed into a ball with her Witch's Glintstone crown next to it. You can, however, still purchase sorceries from her. And then you can go back to the locations where we found Azur and Lusat, where their bodies were sitting, and get their armor sets. That is option 1, where you side with Sellen. Option 2, if you side with Jaren, you kill Sellen, you get her Glintstone crown and her bell bearing, which means you have access to her shop and her sorceries and stuff still. Then you speak to Jaren outside the Grand Library right here to get an Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone. Those are the only official rewards. However, you can, if you really wanted to, still kill Jaren for his armor set while he's standing out here. You're not able to get Azur and Lusat's armor if you go this route. And one more time, just to be clear, the only way to get the Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone is to side with Jaren, and the only way to get the Glintstone Chris, Shard Spiral Sorcery, Azur set, and Lusat set is to side with Sellen. The Witch's Glintstone Crown is obtainable from both endings, as well as the Eccentric set if you don't mind spilling some blood and killing Jaren after the fact. And Sellen's Bell Bearing is technically only available if you side with Jaren since she dies, but being that it's a Bell Bearing, all it does for you is give access to her inventory or shop back at the Finger Maidens and the Twin Maiden Husks rather at Round Table Hold. Since you can still access Sellen's shop in her ending, and that is ultimately the purpose of a Bell Bearing, I'm just counting that as also being available in both endings. You just lose out the convenience of being able to buy them back at Round Table Hold. So personally, because I have a regular weapon and want Ancient Dragon Smithing Stones, I'm going to assist Jaren with killing Sellen. There we go. Get the normal rewards for killing someone as an invader. Sellen's Bell Bearing and Witch's Glintstone Crown as promised, and then run out here to find Jaren.
I heard what I didn't know. You've this.
And there we go. Alright, and that is all from Jaren. So we could max out our weapon now once we get a few more Smithing Stone 8s, because I need those to get to plus 24, but before we can move on to plus 25. So with that, and also just one more time, I've explained this many times, but just to be absolutely crystal clear, you need a special Somber Ancient Dragon Smithing Stone for Somber weapons. It's not the same item. So if you're using a Somber weapon, then that's not as much use to you. You can still get it if you want, but just wanted to make that crystal clear. Now, along the way to finishing Sellen's questline, right before we met Azur, we picked up the Your Beautiful Prattling Pate, which is the last piece of the puzzle we need for Bach's questline. We do need to go see him in Lanedell, but we already have access to that grace, so that's not a problem. But first, you want to warp back to Round Table Hold. We need to buy Radahn's armor, at least the chest piece, if you do not own it already. Because to give the golden sewing needle to Bach, you need to own a piece of demigod armor that can be altered. So far, Radahn's chest piece is the only thing we have access to that fits that criteria. So we pick that up and then warp to East Capital Rampart. Talk to Bach, and he actually has some dialogue here at the Did You See It, just for getting close to the Erd Tree since we haven't talked to him at this location yet. Then choose I'm Sorry. And you have the option to give him the gold sewing needle, do that. And that's going to unlock a few more dialogue options. The one at the bottom, Have You Ever Thought So, is the only one with potential consequences, so let's just start from the top with I have a favor to ask. And then you can say you may call me Lord to get the My Lord gesture from him. Then choose Surely She'd Be Happy For You. Some more general dialogue. And then Have You Ever Thought So? After you go through this dialogue, you have the option of giving him a larval tear, but we do not want to do that. I will explain why. If you decide to give him a larval tear, once you rest, he'll make his way to Renala in the Grand Library that we were just at to be reborn. The problem is he does not have the Great Rune of the Unborn like we do, which is what prevents it from just frying your brain when you're reborn. So when you find him there, he'll be a human, but he won't respond when you try to speak to him, and then if you rest and reload the area, he will die. Not a great ending. So instead, since we like Bach, after you hear him out here, back out of the dialogue window, open your inventory, use the prattling pate, "You're beautiful."
You're beautiful.
Speak to him again. I heard a voice.
Thank you, Mum. And now, do you feel
And then tell him, "That's right, you are beautiful." And he will survive, and that is the end of Bach's questline. So we are all done with him, and now we can go back and finish up Mount Gelmir. So warp to Seethwater Terminus. And this time, we will follow the cliffs over here, or this route, just to avoid the flaming chariot guy in that courtyard, basically. Over here by the jellyfish tree, you get a stone sword key, and then the entrance over here. On that fire right in front of me, right directly in front of us, it's gone now. It's back. There's some smoldering butterflies if you want them, but just gonna ignore that. Okay. Relax, man. Such a long combo. For what? What did it accomplish? Alright, now, inside this courtyard here is a lone fire prelate, which I'm honestly surprised never appears as a proper boss, because it's almost a reskin of Smo from Dark Souls 1 all the way down to the moveset. The main difference is the fire that spouts from his head, which can make it kind of difficult to fight, but you can also just run around for like 30 seconds and he'll sort of just burn himself out, so he's not constantly spewing fire anymore. But he doesn't have a ton of health, so you can also just run in and ignore the fire. And he drops the Prelate's Inferno Crosier. I don't know, I've never seen that word aside from this in my life, so I don't know how to say that. One of the coolest looking weapons in the game, in my opinion. No, actually, I take that back. It is an objective fact. My opinion is irrelevant. This thing is sick. Where are you? There you are. It even has Smo's charge. So good. Anyway. Head inside. Armor's cookbook 7. Slumbering Egg. Golden Rune 8. And there's some dialogue that triggers when you get up here, which is coming from this guy out here. So you can talk to him if you want and grab the Fire Scorpion charm as well. And then that's pretty much it. You can farm the armor from the prelate guy in the courtyard if you want. I don't know what the drop rate is. It's not great, but you can get it. Definitely seen him drop pieces of it before. And then there's also a handful of sacramental buds outside here on the cliff somewhere. Can't remember exactly where, but they're outside the castle back here if you want them. I'm going to ignore them. Now we've pretty much cleared everything else in the lower level of Mount Gelmir, so let's head up top now. Warp to Primeval Sorcerer Azur. Grab this golden rune, hop down, and we're going in here, but real quick, I actually almost forgot. Just because there's not really a convenient time to do it. If you run back over to where Patches was, you get a bit of extra dialogue from him, and if you somehow missed the calm down gesture earlier in the game, he should give that to you here as well.
Despite my you are and my stay clear. I heard the
And he tells us now to go to Volcano Manor, so of course, next episode we're gonna go to Volcano Manor. Let's go back to this building here. Open the door and ride the elevator down. And thinking ahead, send the elevator back up while you're at it. And then grab the Grace. So, there are two major environmental hazards in this dungeon, chariots and lava. So I like to throw on a dagger or two here. It can be anything, doesn't have to be a dagger. We just need a stick basically to imbue with an Ash of War. So I've got my one from earlier in the game with Raptor of the Mists on it. We're going to want Raptor of the Mists on any weapon to help deal with the chariots. And then if you want, you can go with just the default Ash of War quick step that is on daggers. You can also use Bloodhound step if you have anything with that on it. Or if FP is a super valuable resource for your character, you can also get across the lava fairly quickly by backstepping constantly, and it won't cost you any FP. It's not quite as quick as quick stepping, I don't think, but it's better than like you walk like super slow through the lava, like this pace basically. So backstepping is faster. But yeah, definitely at least get Raptor of the Mists. I'm gonna take off the bow for a second too. But whichever way you decide to handle the lava, there's just no better way to handle the chariot. So out here, once we start going down this ramp ahead, chariot is going to start rolling up and down. And how do I explain this? There's basically two ways you can tackle this dungeon depending on how much you care about the loot inside, which honestly, it's not very much. This is one of the few places that you don't have to pull a lever to unlock the boss door at the end. And there are actually a couple of routes you can take to skip a huge chunk of the area and basically just go straight to the boss. I'm going to show the quote-unquote complete run first, and then afterwards I'll demonstrate the shorter routes so you'll know whether you want to actually fully clear it or not. You're really just missing out on some gloveworts and like golden runes if I recall. But anyway, proceed down the stairs with your dagger ready. Skeletons are going to pop out the side. Go kind of slow down this first section because this flat part right in front of us, the chariot can actually turn around there if you get that far, and Raptor of the Mist doesn't last long enough to counter the chariot turning around, because its damaging hitbox persists even if it's sitting still or just, you know, rotating, right? Keep going almost all the way to the end, and then just before the path runs out, you can jump over to the side here. Get a Grave Glovewort 7, and the lava really doesn't hurt that much, so if you miss that jump, you'll be okay. Page around the corner. Oh, there was. Take out all these nobles, grab the Grave Gloveworts. Alright, then there's one more page up here. Perfect. You can obviously use Market Shackle to get rid of this fire at any point. I usually just leave it on because sometimes the enemies like that just feel like walking into it, which is funny every time. So now that he's dead, you can use Market Shackle. Ghost Gloveworts. And we'll clear this room on the right first. There's going to be a guy sitting right here, and then a page in both corners. They both have crossbows, so probably going to get shot in the back either way. Oh, he tried. Kill them, get the Golden Rune 6 they were guarding, and then go out the only other exits. And wait for that. Brave Glovewort 7, and then hop back here and we explain again. So, let me try to explain this in a way that'll save you some of the headache I've experienced in my past. So up the hill to the right is a single stone sword key. The chariot will turn around up there, which, like I was explaining before, you can't... just the amount of time it sits there and turns is longer than what Rapture the Mist can cover. So that doesn't really... there's no good counter for it. You don't really have any room to work with up there. It'll also only roll back to where we're standing at right now before going up again, so it kind of just rolls up and down a pretty short area. So it's easy to get stuck and bullied by the chariot is what I'm saying. Can it be done safely without dying? Sure. You'll just have to ask yourself if it's worth all that effort and potentially dying for one stone sword key. Now all the way down the hill to the left, there's going to be an alcove with a horrifying surprise when you get to it, which is a cemetery shade. Usually that's not a horrible enemy, but we usually aren't fighting them that close quarters. Like, when I say alcove, I mean like between this and this. There's not a lot of space. And they've got that super spammy melee combo that can bleed you really quickly. And if you try to retreat, then you're kind of just out in the hallway out here and in the way of the chariot's turnaround point. There is an easier way to handle it all though. Observe. We backtrack to the original lava path. And the chariot's not even here, so just gonna run into here. He turns around right there. And hop out here and just start either quick stepping or backstep spamming. And the chariot will continue to turn around at that same point, so you are good. Like I said, you can throw on Flame Drake Talisman to negate the fire damage further, but if you got full health, you should have plenty to work with here. Drink up, open the chest. Get the ringed finger, absolutely horrifying weapon. And then start backstepping over to this glovewort here, very carefully, because you want to make a calculated fall off the ledge behind it. That was probably cutting it a little too close. And fall down. If you're facing this wall, it's on the left side. Do not want to fall all the way down to the bottom. And then here's the boss door. So, like I mentioned earlier, if you wanted to skip that whole side area we just did and just go straight for the boss, all you have to do is just go straight down that first hill in the dungeon without stopping until you get here, and you are good to go. We're going to have a little more fun, though, and deal with that cemetery shade that I pointed out. So, drop down here, get some beast blood, and then climb back up the ladder, and we wait. Right around here, the chariot will turn around, and you can jump onto the top of it, and ride it to the top of this hill. It is not coming down here. I have to run around a bit because it can switch routes between that upper path and down here. There we go. So you have to like somehow make it aware that you're down here, I guess. I'm gonna wait for one more cycle. Now, despite all the things that realistically would make this incredibly dangerous, you're actually totally safe on the back of it and can just keep riding it up and down the hill to your heart's content. Just make a nice little running jump for that. And at the top, there's the cemetery shade. There's the path that we were just on that I said was dangerous, of course. So get literally any form of range damage just to get the attention of the cemetery shade. And then he's going to try to chase us, which is either going to result in him getting run over by the chariot, or he'll teleport into the lava and just burn to death. So that's awesome. Makes it way easier. You don't have to risk pinning yourself between the cemetery shade and the chariot. It's great. If you were to hop off the chariot at the top of this hill where the shade just was and go up the next hill, you'd end up back where the fire pillar room was and the stone sword key I mentioned earlier. But like I was just saying, instead of running up and down the lava covered hill like it is right now, you can switch routes and it'll start going up that next hill. It's the same chariot that we saw earlier, so even if you went this way, you could also tackle that side area with this route. I think it would be easier to just reset the dungeon probably and go from the start if you wanted to hit that stone sword key, but, well, I guess maybe not, since you have Raptor the Mist, but it's up to you. I'm still not going to bother getting it, honestly. There's only one more way to get down here, which I'll still show in a second because it gets us some really good loot, but it is the most dangerous of the methods, so that was a horrible idea. Wait for it to turn around before you jump off. I was distracted reading my notes. But yeah, it's the most dangerous, so I figured I'd save it for last. Well, I made a silly and just fell to my death, so all those runes are gone. Oh well. We're gonna run back down this main path again. Remember, don't go all the way to that platform. Let it cross the turnaround point. I was a little late on the raptor there. And again. Or early, probably. Grab my 1,000 runes. Chariot's gonna turn around at the halfway point, so I'll let it go by one more time. Now here, if you look down this pit, there's like an X-shaped set of rafters. So I like to run and jump into the corner. No way, it happened again, dude. You have a couple options. You can just stand in the corner and carefully drop straight down, or you can run and jump in the corner, which I usually find to be safer because it usually results in me not bouncing off the wall like that. But unfortunately for me, that's not how it went down this time. The first time I just straight up missed. Like it was bad. That's how it's done. Doesn't matter which corner you jump into either. Alright. Well, that'll work. If we can stay on here. Just get to a corner, and then make your way over to one of these windows, hop through, get some root resin. There is a Bloodhound Knight down there that you can kill with ranged attacks from up here if you'd like. I'm feeling like this isn't worth the effort. He will drop you the entire Bloodhound Knight set. Over here, you get the entire Gelmir Knight set. And then back over this way through this narrow pathway. There are 2 exits that go out over lava pits, so just make note of that. Point it out here in a second again. Backtrack, climb up this ladder. hop back out either window onto the rafters. And this right underneath us is where the cemetery shade was. Actually, I don't know if he respawns. I don't... No, he is in there. Okay. So, yeah, the lava pit's right there in front of me on either side. That's where the smoldering butterflies were. So, obviously, if you wanted to, you could also just drop off there to get the Bloodhound Knight. Or the Bloodhound Knight set and all the stuff in this other room instead of dropping down from these rafters, right? And getting yourself killed like I did like 3 times. And then the other thing you can do here is just jump off the, I mean, I guess however you want to get to that. You could go down that hill over there, or you could go the route that I did when we first got here, ride this chariot up the lava hill, jump off here, and then hop off over there. So you have some options. But from here, I'm going to drop onto the chariot. I'm going to kill the cemetery shade again. He can, well, he dropped something for us earlier. I think if he dies from the lava, you automatically get the drop. But since he died of the chariot, that didn't happen. So I'm gonna wait a second before I get his attention, get him to chase us. See if he'll get into the lava. There we go. So he can drop his weapon. There we go, he's dead from the lava. Did not drop anything, it doesn't look like. Now we hop off safely. Get to dry land. You can grab that glove wart that was next to it and all that too. That's the same with the stone sword key, I just feel like it's not worth the trouble of being stuck in that position. But finally, onto the boss. Hopefully you've lost 120,000 less runes than I have. And this is going to be the Red Wolf of the Champion. Only difference between this one and the Red Wolf of Radagon that we fought back at Raya Lucaria is the text above the health bar. I'm still not any better at fighting them. Oh my god, dude, I'm getting farmed. Down he goes. If you can actually hit it, it does a ton of damage, so they go down quickly. Get the Bloodhound Knight Flow Ashes. Make sure you open this chest for the Death Root, because, you know, super aggressive boss obviously, so there's a good chance it just rushes you and you fight it over by the entrance. And it's easy to not see the chest from back here, so grab that, and let's never come back here again. Warp to Bestial Sanctum. Give him a Death Root, that should be number 6. Get the Stone of Garank incantation for that. Now, warp back to the Primeval Comet? No, Primeval Sorcerers or Grace right there. Normally I save the field bosses for the end of the zone, but Mount Gelmir is just super inconvenient to navigate, and all the pathways are pretty narrow, so I'm just kind of going with the flow here. We're about to run past the field boss, and there's no easy way to get back to it, so let's just send it while we're here, right? get back over here. So where... How did I not pick that up earlier? That's weird. Where the pumpkin guy was anyway, I was gonna say. Cross this spire bridge thing. And then Grafted Scion is gonna join the party. We're going to make quick work of that one. Some soporific grease, scavenger's curved sword, and then... Actually, I think there's a Nicholas Lily back here as well. There we go. And then up the ladder. At the top of this first ladder, there are a few different ways you can go. Before going up any more ladders, if you explore to the right, a few marionettes, an avionette, and then at the end of the path, you'll find a Trina's Lily. If you go left, there's some marionettes that are at the end of the path over here, and you'll find a soldier getting executed by a marionette firing squad, which is equal parts cool and horrifying, and then there's a nascent butterfly down there too. In the interest of time, I'm just going to let you explore that on your own since the loot is pretty minimal. And then there are two ladders you can go up here. One there and one over here. They'll both get you the same place eventually. The right one will lead you to a corpse containing a whopping 5 great arrows, and you'll have to deal with a handful of enemies on your way up to the top. Or we can just go up this ladder on the left, immediately meet a merchant who sells great arrows even if you did actually need some for some reason. And he also sells us other cool stuff, like most merchants do.
Welcome. Dear Will you please? I'm hungry.
Get the Nomadic Warriors Cookbook 20, and you can also get the Confessor set, which is pretty solid drip, so I'll take that. And a Stone Sword Key if you wanted to. I'll just grab that for the hell of it. We have like a lot right now though, so... Yeah, 7 now with that. Not really worried about running out anytime soon. Climb up the next ladder. And like I said, if you went the other route, the ladders will converge at the same place, so just keep following whichever route that you prefer. Up here, there's some soldiers and knights consumed by the frenzied flame, so be careful about the madness buildup. Thought I was blocking all of that. Why won't my shield go up? Weird. Alright, and then up here there's a little sword monument thing. Eye of Yellow. And then drop down into this clearing, there will be more enemies. Actually, I'll grab the Eye of Yellow there as well. Before you do that, just to be absolutely safe, you can cross the bridge and get the Grace first. And then we'll worry about this stuff over here. So obnoxiously close to dead. Take those guys out. There are a bunch of these little yellow embers around too if you want them. And the other ladder is also come up to this ledge over here, so that's where you would end up. Some poison grease. Trina's lily. And into Volcano Cave. Clear these guys out and then go through the northwest tunnel. Wrap around for a golden rune 6 and then drop down to this ledge, but not all the way. Go through the other tunnel. Clear out everyone inside, get some Arteria leaves, coil shield, slivers of meat, and then back to that original room. You can drop down and kill the chieftain. Over in the corner, lump of flesh. This tunnel right here will take you back up to the very first room at the beginning of the cave. And then we can do the boss. Who is another demi-human queen. She's gonna go berserk mode after you hit her once. Throw away the staff. So just use that transition animation to get in as much damage as you can, and she should probably go down. You get the jar cannon, and then warp over to 9th Mount Gelmir campsite. And we are going to fight a Fallingstar beast, but not like the normal ones. This is a fully grown one. Someone mentioned on one of the other videos about fighting these things on torrent, and definitely could if you just haven't quite gotten the hang of their moveset and need a little more mobility. I can definitely see this working. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it, but I mean, you can see it's definitely a viable option if you want. It's growing on me actually right now, this moment. Alright, so yeah, same moves as usual until phase 2, which happens around 60% health. And then once you start approaching 60% health, you want to play a little more passively because there's a very powerful move with a huge range on it that you want to be careful of and look out for. You don't want to be overcommitting around then and not be able to dodge it when it happens. Nope, that's not it. It's like that one, but a lot bigger. Getting close. Probably next hit should do it. Nope, that's it. His eye glows, you can see everything around him gets kind of fuzzy. Massive gravity attack. And now we're in phase 2. And he has a long range attack. It's like a death beam. It's gonna go, if you're facing him, it's gonna go from right to left. From his perspective, it goes left to right. So when he does that, if you're on his far side where the beam does not start, then you could definitely hop on Torrent and run over to get next to him, get some damage in. But if you're too close to it, don't have time to mount up Torrent, you're probably just gonna have to try to roll through it. Like I said, it's usually more of a long-range attack, so I hardly ever see it unless I'm running away to heal. Oh, there it is. And as you can see, you can use the elevation to your advantage, so luckily he was way up high, so I didn't have to do anything. But if that goes the other way, you can also jump over it on Torrent, I know, so you definitely have some options for dodging that. Getting close, get some free damage while he does that. And that'll do it. I have no idea how that last swing actually hit him. That felt really lucky. But I will take it. Somber Smithing Stone 6. Fallingstar, oh, and some regular ones. I don't know why, my brain just turned off for a second. Just stared at the screen blankly. Some regular 6s and the Fallingstar Beastjaw, which is a fun weapon, and its Ash of War does a ridiculous amount of stance damage, so check that out if you haven't before. Now, with that, let's see, what do we have left here? We have the Minor Urgery. So let's go to Road of Iniquity. And we'll go down this hill. There's a giant Wormface here. I'm pretty sure, like, once in my life, I feel like I've seen him not be here, and he's disguised as, like, a corpse sitting on the ground. Which, the only reason that I think that I'm not crazy in remembering that is because he drops a larval tear, which is what things that transform drop. So yeah. So if he's not here, just check for something in this general area to hit. There you go, larval tear. Some fan daggers here. And eventually, an illustrated tree spirit is going to drop out of the sky. Not a whole lot to say about this. I know it's everyone's favorite enemy. Go in, try to stagger it, do some fire damage if you want. Watch out for the grab attack after it roars. Why did I say roars weird? It was strange. There we go. I probably can't reach your face. Yes, I can. Okay, good. Try to stick to its sides as much as possible. That's where the least amount of stuff is probably going to hit you. You roared, grab attack. Sometimes you can do the grab attack when his, like, mouth is on fire too. That's just, you know, worse. Same thing, but worse. Big AoE explosion. We fought a bunch of these already. I know you got it handled. Got a couple tears from that, and then there's a dude around here. One of these guys has a golden rune on him. I think I must have picked it up already. I didn't notice, but some golden arrows, and then down on the bridge finally. Take those guys out. Why can't I get off torrent? There we go. Some beast blood. And with that, I think we are done with Mount Gelmir. Volcano Manor next time. See you for that. Have a good one.